Innovative, courageous, responsible, trustworthy. Part of the community and a little different. This is PEMCO. This is you, this is me, this is my team, this is our community. PEMCO builds its company around the community and acknowledges the unique characteristics of the people they serve. PEMCO is fun and forward-thinking. You can see this in your WALL-E campaign. Hi, my name is Megan. I'm here today with my teammates, Mark, Alex, and Taylor, and together we are WALL-E Consulting. This is our WALL-E profile. Today we're here to offer you a corporate social responsibility plan that embodies the image of PEMCO and keeps in mind your values. We came across the realization that people do not want companies that do good. People want companies that are good. This means that corporate social responsibility is about more than giving back to the community. It's about becoming part of the community and building each other up from within. We looked at your current goal. Your current goal was to improve the qualities of life in the communities you serve. We've outlined a strategy that effectively allows you to meet this goal. The first part of this is promoting and developing the local community. The second part is improving sustainability measures. The third is fostering an innovative environment and increasing employee engagement. Overall, the impact of this will be $250,000 generated annually for your local economy. It will be 270 students safer on the road. There'll be a 50% increase in internal sustainability measures and a 10% increase in employee engagement. Overall, this will allow you to effectively meet that goal. Moving on to our analysis. So this is the industry. Now, while you have some large competitors nationwide, you have the unique competitive advantage that this is your industry. Your industry is the Pacific Northwest. Your industry is our community. Our community is fiercely independent, proud of the region, incredibly green, and supportive of local businesses. You need a corporate social responsibility plan that mirrors the characteristics of our community. This is what you already have in place. Now, while this does align with your values, it doesn't bring together the segmented parts of the community and unify us into that one community that it could. We looked at many different options, and ultimately, we're here today to provide you with the best option for a corporate social responsibility plan. We kept in mind both the image that was developed in the WALL-E campaign and your values of integrity, responsibility, and courage. I'm going to hand off to Alex to talk about the first part of our strategy. Oh, wrong one.
So our strategy will improve our community, our environment, and our employees. I'll start with the community. And I'll start with the orange one there, where we're going to talk about how to support local businesses. But why is that important? Well, for every dollar spent with local businesses, we generate over 3 times the impact compared to spending with national chains. So to help stimulate our economy, we're going to start an event called Community Showcase. And its purpose is to support local businesses and unite the community. Now, this will be an annual event where we will coordinate local businesses to come together and sell their goods and services in an open market. So this event, we estimate an attendance of 10,000 people, along with 125 local vendors and 5 bands that will come together as one community in a Seattle park. So this event will be fun, high energy, and it'll challenge the status quo of what normal insurance companies do. So our values suggest that we're better than normal. We go above and beyond for our customers and our employees. So what will the impact of this showcase be? Well, we'll see $250,000 generated for businesses in our community every year. Now, this event, also, as we expand, we can expand this throughout the Pacific Northwest, where we'll see even more revenue for businesses, and personally, we'll see an increase in market share. Now, this is great for present businesses, but what about the future? Well, our future is in today's youth. So that brings us to the second part of our community outreach strategy, where we'll talk about how to improve safety measures through a driver's education program. Now, why is that important? Well, this is quite alarming. 6 teenagers ages 16 to 19 die every day due to car crashes. This is an awful reality, a reality that we can change in our local community. So to do that, we're going to bring in a program called Driver's Edge. Now, Driver's Edge is a nonprofit that uses professional drivers to teach real-life emergency avoidance scenarios. So what we'll do is we will bring Driver's Edge down to Washington for 10 days or 5 weekends throughout the calendar year. And then this program it's more interactive than a normal driver's ed course. So this is well aligned with our fun, caring brand image. So also, since these teams will now be safer on the road, they'll also receive a 5% discount on their auto insurance. So what will the impact of Driver's Edge be? Well, we'll see 270 safer teens on the road every year. Now, to talk about our environment and employee aspect of the case, I'll turn it over to Taylor.
Thanks, Alex. So now that we've looked at our local community, let's look at an internal strategy which can truly help our external environment. Now, we know, being in the Northwestern region, that people place a specific emphasis on being green and sustainable. And when employees get involved in a cause at work, their work becomes their cause. So how can we bring this green atmosphere of our employees into PEMCO and the PEMCO community? That's where we introduce the green teams. The green teams are employee engagement teams focused on creating a more sustainable community and workplace. So they'll create initiatives to create in PEMCO. A few of these initiatives could be introducing a volunteer effort at a local river to clean it up, or it could be in the PEMCO cafeteria creating a compost, or it could even be an increase in efficiencies in the lighting, which is great for the environment, but also great for PEMCO as a company because it cuts costs. So now how this actually will work, we'll start by developing a baseline. This baseline will be developed with a sustainability audit. Sustainability audits can either be done in-house or fairly inexpensively by an outside consulting agency. From there, a board will be selected to oversee the green team. The green team will meet monthly, and at the meetings, all employees are welcome, and all employees can share their ideas and initiatives to create a greener community and a greener PEMCO. From there, the board will collect these ideas and introduce them to management to truly decide which initiatives to act on. From all of this, it'll result in a cleaner, healthier, more efficient workplace and local community. But one of the greatest parts of this entire plan is the built-in feedback loop. We create that baseline with the yearly sustainability audit, and every year we're able to truly see if our efforts and our proposals are actually making a difference in our increasing efficiency within the PEMCO offices. So now we've looked at the external. Let's bring it back and look at the internal and look at how we can increase employee engagement even more. So why is employee engagement important? Gallup has found that employees who are engaged at work are more productive. Customers are happier, and businesses are more profitable overall. So employee engagement, super important. Yet, Gallup has also found that even at top companies, only 32% of employees are actually engaged. So how can PEMCO create a community of engagement at their offices? That's where we introduce the idea competition. This is a semi-annual competition between all employees who are able to generate quality business ideas. These ideas could be as simple as adding to marketing another social media platform, or as innovative as completely redesigning the entire actuarial department at PEMCO. So how will this actually work? It'll be based off a criteria of about 5 things: concept strength, feasibility, innovativeness, necessity, and the actual implementation plan. Then all employees are welcome to submit a proposal online. These proposals will be reviewed twice a year by management, and then the management will send them to top management. And the top proposals sent to top management will actually be presented by the employee with the idea. From there, the top management will choose a winner with the top idea. This idea can be implemented in PEMCO, and the employee themselves can help to implement this idea, as well as the employee will gain an extra 3 paid vacation days for that year. What this does is it's creating an open communication environment within PEMCO where all employees feel their voices are being heard and they can talk with all levels of the PEMCO company. but it's also creating an environment of innovativeness and creativity, which as a result, all of these lead to an impact of employees who are more excited and more connected with PEMCO's true and core values. So now that we've talked about the what and the how, I'm going to pass it off to Mark so that we can truly look at the impact of these ideas.
Thanks, Taylor. So how exactly are the financials and evaluation behind this strategy going to look? So looking at our implementation timeline, we're really looking to incorporate all of these strategies within the next 12 months. We have put in place annual reassessment success metrics to kind of reevaluate and see where these projects are going. So looking at the slide, are we raising that amount for local businesses? How is the driver's edge attendance? Is our sustainability audit improving over time? And how is the quantity and quality of implementable ideas through the idea competition? Now, if you go ahead and take a look at the employee handout, this is how we're really going to hit the ground running and ensure all employees are on board with our plan. We can begin the community showcase planning as soon as possible, really get in touch with Driver's Edge, schedule those green team meetings, and create and develop the online idea submission platform. Now, our CSR plan is really focused on the community, but I'd like to briefly discuss how the financials are going to impact PEMCO. I'd like to hone in on this $909,000 number and where exactly these expected returns are coming from. So let's go into return on investment. Now, 3 out of 4 of the parts of our strategy generate positive returns on investment. Looking at that 304% for the idea competition, this is really coming from employee engagement metrics and the projected profitability of employee ideas throughout the company over the foreseeable future. Now let's address the elephant in the room of why is there a negative ROI up on this screen. So not only is the Driver's Edge program really focused on the community, this number is only calculated looking at the costs of operational expenses on a day-to-day basis. But this number will make financial sense for PEMCO in the long run. PEMCO had $240 million in insurance losses in 2014. Drivers who do not go through Driver's Ed are 16% more likely to get in accidents. Now, we see this statistic as really being able to reduce this $240 million expense over the foreseeable future. Now, going to the cost-benefit analysis. At the left side, you'll see costs of around $555,000 and expected returns of $909,000. These numbers are coming from 5 years of projected cash flows and expenses, all discounted back to year 0. Now, these financials are extremely important to our strategy, but these are what are truly imperative to our corporate social responsibility plan. $250,000 generated for local businesses, 270 safer drivers on the road, a 50% more internally sustainable company, and 10% more employee engagement. Now I'd like to go into our risks and mitigation. So looking at the left side, the common theme that we found amongst our risks were low participation and turnout. And we plan to combat these through increased marketing efforts and really these annual reassessments of all of our strategies. Now I'd like to pass it off to Megan to go ahead and wrap it up.
So to bring this full circle, let's address one of our key stakeholders, our policyholder, Drew. So Drew lives in Seattle, he owns a business in Seattle, and his family is in Seattle. From our corporate social responsibility plan, he economically benefits and feels connected to the community through the community showcase. His daughter is safer on the road through participating in Driver's Edge. He is happier supporting a green company that knows what's important to him. And he experiences improved customer service from his insurance agent because his agent feels more engaged at work through participating in the idea competition. To recap, we've addressed the community, we've created the community showcase, we've created a Driver's Edge initiative to kind of look forward to the future and also emphasize something that's really important to insurance companies, driving safely. We've also looked externally and looked at the overall environment and increased sustainability measures, both internally in our organization and externally in our community. And lastly, we've created an idea competition that allows our employees to feel more engaged at work and create a more innovative environment. All of this ultimately will allow you to meet that goal, to improve the qualities of life in the communities you serve. It will also allow us to unify our segmented communities and create one community that comes together as a whole. Thank you, and I'd now like to hand it over for question and answer.
Thank you so much for your presentation. I actually have 2 questions, but I'm trying to figure out which one to ask first. Okay, for my first question is around your focus alternatives slide. As a company that was founded by an educator and has really focused on education, your focuses were away from that. How do we as a company kind of wrap our arms around not focusing on the scholarship programs or that education mentoring as part of this when that's part of who our founder was?
So, this is right. Yeah. So we did consider a scholarship program. We have that up right there. We kind of stepped away from it for this particular plan only because based on like feasibility and cost and what's most effective with our current image, it was not completely in line with what we really wanted to move forward with, but we do acknowledge that that is very important. If you want to add on to that, Taylor?
We truly were looking for what is going to cause the most impact in our community. Where can we reach out and truly become involved and have a hands-on approach? While yes, we could just put money into a scholarship fund, and that is great and wonderful, and that's why with CSR, so many ideas are great. CSR, you're not often going to find an idea that's not going to be helpful in some way, but we were truly focusing on bringing the community together as a one community and really having outreach that was personable and like had a direct impact.
All right, let me ask my second question. It's really quick though. And then around the community event that you talked about, how would that be different from what a Chamber of Commerce does?
So essentially with the community event, we are backing the event. So there are other events that are like this that the community puts on, but the difference is that we as an insurance company are kind of stepping out of what's generally known that an insurance company would do and providing this for our community. So we will facilitate provide the area for it. We have that chosen. We'll also provide any of the other costs for it, which has been accounted for in our financials, such as like tents, things like that. We'll also provide the marketing, if you want to go to the marketing. We'll provide all of that for the event. So in this way, it's kind of showing our community that we support them, that we back their businesses and are willing to put our money behind their businesses and promote that local economy. That answers your question. Yeah.
So my question's around your driver's ed initiative that I actually think is brilliant. So as someone who leads CSR in our company, I admire all your analytics. I admire the financials. It's got to be there to engage your board and leadership team. But we got to remember the soft underbelly. And I was hungry to see, so if that program was successful, what would you project? You know, saving one teenage life matters more than anything else. And you would have had me, like, totally, if I had seen any projection and if it was localized, like in the Pacific Northwest, in Washington State, X number of teen drivers die every year. So is that a national or was that a local statistic? And then taking that and doing a projection, because then I would think too, a lot of PEMCO consumers are probably in their 40s, 50s. They've got teenage children, and I would think they would eat this up, and you'd get more customers.
Okay, so our Driver's Edge program, if you look on your screen there, you are 16% more likely to have an accident if you do not take Driver's Ed. So what Driver's Edge is, it focuses more on real-life emergency avoidance tactics, which is involved in if, for example, if you're driving and you lose control of your car, do you turn into traffic or do you turn away from traffic? So that kind of emergency avoidance is where lives are saved. When you teach those kinds of skills that Driver's Edge has, did you want to expand more on that, Taylor? I guess you were looking up there.
And we completely agree. This to be brought to a board as the saving of one life, how can you put a number on that? And we completely agree with that point. And it's all about, that's the entire point of Driver's Edge, is trying to save those lives. And we were just also trying to show that it's also economically reasonable as well.
So in looking at kind of your customer-facing efforts here between Driver's Edge as well as the festival, they seem very focused on kind of the urban areas and more population-dense areas. And like the festival itself, you talked about Seattle, and I'm just curious, like, you know, if you're a customer in Walla Walla, are you ever going to see any of these things? Or if you're a customer in Spokane, are you going to see this? Or even Tacoma, where we're not going to go to Seattle for fun. It's just, you know, I mean, yeah. But I'm just, I worry about kind of being blocked in with some of those programs in terms of very specific regional places where, how do you see it playing within the broader kind of greater Northwest?
So definitely we chose Seattle as a place to start this, but our plan would be for long term to implement this at all of our different locations. So we'd implement one anywhere that at the 3 locations that PEMCO is located, we'd have one around those communities that PEMCO serves. So in that way, we'd be able to kind of reach out to more than just the city focus. And again, we'd look to bring in vendors, not just ones that are down the street from your office, but ones that maybe are still involved in the community, and try to recognize all those different vendors. If you want to add to that.
Probably the best part, my favorite part about this is how it has the ability to expand. So we saw there, can you go back to that same slide, is that 2 of our offices are really close to Seattle. So it'll start there, but it has the potential to expand far past that. It can go throughout the Pacific Northwest, where we can still have our event there, but then we can have an event in Spokane, we can have an event in Oregon, we can have an event all over the place, which would be great for, again, expanding to other regions that we do serve.
Hi. So on this community showcase thing, did you all talk, so first of all, they take a lot of work. Events take a huge amount of work, and actually I serve on a board of Chamber of Commerce, so I understand how much work it takes to go into that. The core competency of a company like PEMCO is insurance. And so how did you guys talk at all or reconcile, you know, we do insurance, we're not in the event business, so can you talk a little bit about that?
Take this? You want it? You want it?
So we actually did discuss a lot about that. One of the great things about PEMCO is how different they are, and that you guys aren't a traditional insurance agency. You're one of them. You're like one of the Northwesterners. But also, PEMCO already does have the Wally van that does go to local events and advertises at local events. So basically, we're just taking what the Wally van does on a small scale at local Seattle, all Washington events, and we're making that PEMCO's own. We're bringing accountability to it and really having PEMCO create their own event on a larger scale from what this Wally van is already doing.
Other questions? If not, let's give them a round of applause. In 3rd place, from the University of Florida,